What up, everybody? Welcome to part 7 of the Road to B-Boy Bgirl Storytelling Workshop. On this part, we're going to be going over levels and angles. So here we go. So what do I mean about angles and levels, right? So think about it like this. You have a whole world of moves on the bottom, you have a whole world of moves on the center, and you have a whole world of moves on the top. Also, you have a whole world of moves to the left, to the center again, and to the right, right? So you have this whole 3D circle that you can play with, so to come up with moves, to come up with levels, to come up with angles. You know, when you look at it mathematically, you have the x, you have the y axis, right? And within those planes, you have the 90 degrees in each plane, right? So when you look at it as something as simple as top work, right? So when you're looking at top work, right, and you want to look good doing top work, you try to move your hands as much as you can, right? So within that, you find angles, right? Boom, angle, 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 right? So as you can see, all that will make your top work look fresh, right? So depending on the angles that you're hitting, and you can find different angles to play with, right, in your top right? So think about that when you're creating, even just in top work, as you can see, you can find the angle. And of course, even if you're doing top work and you're doing it low, when you're doing the top work, helps as well, you know. So that with the top work, you see the levels, and the angles that you can play with. And always remember that in top work, you want to move your hands and your feet as like simultaneously together, so your top work looks full, and then just, you know, play with that, you know. Now when you think about that, the levels, right? So think about it like this. If I grab one move, right? So if I grab my move from the low, I'm trying to use the same move and show you from the different levels that you can use it, right? So I'm gonna grab this move, right? And boom, right? Now I'm going into the mid-level, boom, right? Now I'm gonna take it to the high level, boom, bam, right? So that was the same move, and I used it 3 different levels. So in my flow, I could use that move and come up with 3 different things using it in 3 different levels, as you saw. One move, same move, 3 different levels, right? Another one, an example that I can use is, okay, so this one, right? So boom, I'm hooking, low level, mid level, high level, right? So you can see the same move exists in all the levels. So you can play with that when you're thinking about levels, okay? So that's the cool thing about it, that the same move can exist in all 3 levels. So think about that when you're creating and putting together your flow. Now, something really cool that I want you guys to understand is something I call contraction and expansion, right? Expansion, contraction, right? So to me, I use this a lot within my flow, and I think that's what makes it look cool. And I think, yeah, if you understand this concept, it'll help you a lot too. This could be done with 2 moves, or it could be done with the whole flow. So it's just understanding this effect, you know. So if you start your first move with like your intro, it's a big move. You want to try to go into a contraction and then expand and contract and expand and contract throughout your whole flow. Okay, so I want you to understand that when you're thinking of the levels and the angles, okay? And like I said, this can happen with either 2 moves, or this can happen within a certain amount of moves, which makes the effect happen, okay? I'll give you guys some examples so you guys understand what I'm talking about. So to show you an example with just 2 moves of what I'm talking about with the expansion and contraction, I'm gonna use the hook, right? So if I use the hook, it's a contraction move, right? I'm tucked in, right? So I would want to think of something of an expansion next move. So if I'm hooking, I want to open, boom. See that? That's within a 2 move example of what I'm talking about with the contraction and expansion. Hook, open, right? And then you could keep going from there and try to see if you can add something with the same effect. Now, if I want to take it with more moves of what I'm talking about, right? So if I use the air swipe is an open move, right? It's a big move. I'm going air, right? So if I was coming in with the air swipe, I'm coming in, big move, jump in the air, I'm coming, the next move I want to think about is contraction. So boom, I'm contracting, right? I'm gonna keep the flow contracted, I'm going in, I'm still kind of contracted, still kind of contracted. Now I want to start seeing if I can take myself and start expanding from here and start taking it higher, higher, and higher. And that's what I mean about the contraction and expansion. Started big, then it kind of shrunk the flow, and then I started thinking of how can I take it up to the levels and to make it bigger. Okay? So think about that when you're creating your flows. So those are two little examples. I give you one with the two moves and one with another with a couple of moves of what I'm talking about. So as you can see, you start seeing this, right? And then it could happen from the bottom to the top. And if you start a flow from the bottom, you want to take the expansion to the top. If you start it from the top, you want to take it to the bottom. So all that as well, right? So the flow, the expansion, contraction can go horizontal or vertical, okay? Boom. So here we go with another example. This time I'm going to start it with footwork, right? Footwork is a contraction move, right? So I'm going to start it with footwork, and then I'm going to show you the expansion contraction concept. So I'm coming in with footwork, right? So I'm going forward, 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 forward. So here my thing is I'm trying to expand. So I'll use the baby swap to expand, because from here I'm crunched up, then I'm going to open, boom, slide it in, right? And then my next thing is contraction. So boom, I'll contract right here. I'm then gonna kind of keep it contracted a little bit. Boom, I'm coming in, and then from here I'm already thinking, how can I start finding on the expanding and the higher levels to keep the flow going and make it go bigger now. So from here I'm gonna go and I'm gonna take it to a mid-level, boom, and then from here I want to think and I want to kind of take it to even higher level. So I'm gonna do something like a flip, boom, the side throw, and as you can see, it just keeps going bottom until I take it to the higher levels. Okay, so that's what I mean about me thinking of the contraction and expansion and the different levels. So you can see, started it with the contraction, expanded it, I contracted it, then I expanded it, and then I took it to the higher levels. So you want to think about that when you're creating flows. So I'm going to give you one more example of the contraction, expansions, levels, angles. As you can see, it's coming along. Hope you guys are understanding it. So with this one, I want to take the contraction expansion with a forward back kind of movement, right? So it's like choo choo choo, but it also still gonna do this within the flow though, right? So the flow could start with a big move, it comes down, but with a couple certain moves, it start expanding it and start contracting it. It could be 2 moves, 3 moves, 4 moves, 5, 10 moves, 12 moves that create this whole contraction, right? So it's just a roller coaster ride that makes this happen, as you can see. Okay, so with this move, I'm coming in, I'm gonna shoot forward. Show you this guys before. So I'm coming in, boom, I'm shooting forward, boom, boom, boom. That's a contraction move right there, right? So now I'm gonna expand. That's an expand, and I'm gonna slide back now. Now you saw the first time I went forward, now I'm going back, I'm going in, and now what I want to think about here is to go up, right? Boop. Up in the air, okay? So you can see, this one went big, I shot out, when I went on my back and contracted it, I opened it, grabbed my toe, then I slid back. So that showed this effect. Boom, forward and back. I went through, and then my next thing is to crunch and take it up in the air. Okay? So as you can see, that one does it forward and back type of movement and contraction, expansion, and the levels. Okay? Boom. So yeah, guys. So as you can see, that's what I'm talking about with the angles and levels. I showed you how to think about it with the bottom, middle, top level, left, middle, right. So you have this whole spectrum to play with when you're thinking about angles, levels, flow, all of that stuff, okay? And also I showed you that with one move, it exists in all the levels, right? I showed you 2 examples of how that does that. I'll show you the plane, right? You have the clock too. When you look at the clock, it has all the numbers, clockwise and counterclockwise, so you have all those moves to play with, you know. And then the most important part is the contraction and expansion. To me, that's crucial, you know. That's what makes it look cool, and it makes it more fun, and it just keeps it going with this effect, like, you know, like beats, boom, 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 right? So think about that when you're creating your flow. I hope this helped, and if you have any questions, drop them in the comments, and we'll keep expanding, okay? Hope you guys watched all the other videos so it starts to make sense, okay? We're almost getting to the point when what I really mean about the storytelling aspect of it, okay? Love you guys. Peace.